Let's be real. If you're a YouTube creator, there's one thing that can cause a whole lot of confusion and, frankly, a lot of fear: the shocking content policy. It feels like a black box, right? Well, today we're going to pry that box open, break down the rules, and help you create with confidence so you can actually get paid for your hard work.
We've all been there. You pour your heart and soul into a video. You hit that publish button, and then bam, that dreaded yellow $sign pops up. Limited ads. Or even worse, the red slash. No ads at all. It's so frustrating. So what's really going on behind the scenes? Let's figure it out together. And that's really what this is all about. This isn't about telling you what to create. It's about pulling back the curtain on the system so you can navigate it like a pro and, most importantly, protect the revenue you deserve to earn. So it turns out it's not just some random bot going rogue. YouTube's system is actually looking at 4 specific things. Think of them as the 4 big questions. How graphic is it really? Is it blurred out? And here are the 2 most important ones. What was your intent when you made it? And did you provide enough context? Let's see how this plays out in the real world. First up, let's talk about the goal, the green light. This is where your content is fully monetized, safe for all advertisers, and you can just sit back and relax.
So what does that actually look like?
Okay, so looking at this list, some of these things could be considered shocking on paper, right? Medical stuff, tattoos, news reports. But the key difference is how they're presented. It always comes back to those 2 magic words: context and intent. This is a perfect way to think about it. Imagine a doctor showing how to apply stitches. The camera is focused on the technique, there's not a ton of blood, and the goal is to teach you something. The focus is on the how, not the ouch. YouTube sees that as adding value, not just trying to get a reaction. And there's your golden rule for staying in the green zone. If your main purpose is to educate your audience or tell a meaningful story, and not just to gross people out, you are almost always going to be safe for full monetization. All right, now let's wade into the murky waters, the yellow light zone. This is that tricky gray area where so many of us get stuck with those dreaded limited ads. So what kind of content lands a video here? Now, what's so interesting here is that a lot of this content is still educational. But things like, pimple popping videos, surgeries where you can clearly see organs, or mukbangs with really unusual animal parts, the visual intensity just gets turned way up. And that's when advertisers start to get nervous. And that right there seems to be the key distinction. Your intent might be 100% educational, but the second you zoom in on exposed organs or really graphic fluids, you've crossed a visual line. It might be a brilliant medical video, but a big brand doesn't want their cereal commercial playing right after it. So the bottom line for the yellow light category is pretty simple. You might have some good context, but the visuals are just a little too intense, and that scares away some of the advertisers. YouTube then has to limit who can advertise on your video, and that, of course, means less money for you. And that brings us to the red light, the hard stop. This is the stuff that gets 0, zip, nada in ad revenue, because YouTube sees it as a clear violation of their advertiser-friendly policies. Yeah, this list is pretty unambiguous. We're talking about straight-up gore compilations, surgery footage with absolutely no educational context, accidents where you linger on someone's suffering, and any kind of animal cruelty that's just there for shock value. Just think about the difference. A doctor explaining a medical procedure? That's educational. A 10-minute supercut of gruesome injuries set to dramatic music? That has only one purpose: to disturb people. And that is a one-way ticket to demonetization. And there it is, plain and simple. If the whole point of your video is just to shock and disgust your audience, you can't really expect brands to pay to be associated with it. The intent here is everything, and that intent is way outside the guidelines. So when YouTube talks about this red light content, they use a few specific terms you really need to know. First up is intent to shock. It's exactly what it sounds like. The main goal of your video is just to be disturbing. Next, and this is a big one, they look for distress. If your video focuses on someone's visible suffering, we're talking crying, screaming, obvious expressions of pain, that is a major, major red flag. And finally, there's the word exposed. This is just the technical term for all those graphic visuals: unblurred blood, tissue, bodily fluids, or internal organs. The more of this stuff you have, the closer you're flying to that big red light. Okay, I know that was a lot of jargon and definitions, so let's just toss all that out for a second and boil this entire thing down to one simple rule that you can actually use every time you make a video. This slide just says it all, doesn't it? On one side, you've got your monetized content. It educates, it tells a story, it minimizes the gore, and it avoids focusing on suffering. Then on the other side, you've got the non-monetized stuff. It's all about the blood and guts, it highlights suffering, and its only goal is to shock you. When you see it side by side like this, it's actually pretty clear.
So there you have it. You've got the playbook now. You know the difference between intense and impact. The only real question is your content ready to earn? Take a fresh look at your videos through this lens. Because understanding these rules isn't about limiting your creativity, it's about empowering you to create freely and, finally, get paid for your amazing work.